Bonjour à tous.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to meet you again for Afrique Hebdo. This week we will go to Yaoundé to join two legends of the round ball, Roger Milla and Joseph Antoine Bell, who are committed to fight against a little-known childhood disease, noma, which destroys the lives of tens of thousands of children every year. Noma, whose name comes from the Greek word for devoured, is a form of gangrene of the face which mainly affects children aged between 2 and 6 years old. Nearly 90% die from it, while others survive at the cost of terrible suffering, their faces destroyed by the disease. Today, two men are putting their fame at the service of the fight against this pathology, two football champions, Roger Milla and Joseph Antoine Bell. Thank you, sirs, for being with us from Yaoundé. First of all, can you explain to us a little better this disease that we hear very little about?
It is a disease that existed for more than 50 years now. It is a disease, as you just said, that eats away the faces of children from 2 to 6 years old, and it is a very, very dangerous disease. I think that it was neglected a little before. Let me take the case of Africa, for example. When a child had this disease, it was said that it was a witch doctor's disease, that it was witchcraft. Whereas it was a disease of malnutrition, of hygiene. Children were affected by this disease. They eat anything and everything. And I think that is why many have been killed by this disease.
It is an unknown disease. It's caught when children suffer from bad nutrition, poor general health, or bad oral hygiene, and it leaves lifelong after effects because those who get out of it remain disfigured.
There are especially in the prison that you can imagine. You know well that the role of the face is to be the first thing that one sees of somebody. Or if you have a face that one cannot absolutely look at, and a face in front of which one turns away, it is terrible. For those who survive in this life, psychologically unbearable. And I believe that today we ask that we have precisely the courage to look at these children. And thus, instead of looking at the children, to look at the disease in face. It doesn't take much to change this and avoid all this loss of human life. Listen, it is simply to give the possibility to all these children to have doctors next to them.
Let me recall it that according to the World Health Organization, 140,000 people are affected by noma every year. How do you intend to help the victims of noma with this association you are launching?
And especially doctors who will come there to give them a new face, to encourage them to live like all other children. And what we obviously hope for when you ask how is as usual through solidarity. The solidarity of those who have told those who don't. And what we obviously hope for when you ask how is usual through solidarity. The solidarity of those who have towards those who don't. You said that the disease has been ignored for a long time, but ignored like all the problems of the poor. Is that we don't see them. We don't see their living condition, and therefore, by looking at this side, by helping, first of all, as Roger has just said, the doctor will repair their faces, and we try to draw attention so that the starting condition, the hygiene conditions, the unsanitary conditions are avoided.
Exactly, a simple antibiotic treatment and good hygiene would enable to put an end to this disease. I think you also want to raise public awareness.
Today we want to raise public awareness so that all together we can go to the aid of these children who are affected. We can go to the aid of the populations who are vulnerable to this disease, to be able to raise awareness of those who are not yet affected, to raise awareness of the different communes that have the possibility of acting at the level of sanitation, so that this disease does not reach children. You know, sometimes it's from the age of 2, because that's when children start to be independent. So the parents are abusy, and if the environment is not healthy enough, the children will go to the dunghills, go to the places that are totally unsanitary, and as all children put everything they can get their hands on in their mouth.
Listen, it is simply to give the possibility to all these children to have doctors next to them, and especially doctors who will come there to give them a new face, to encourage them to live like all the other children. A referral hospital that can receive doctors from elsewhere to treat them. And that is why we are fighting for this hospital, for which we already have the land. It is for this reason that we are fighting for this hospital, for which we already have the land where to build this hospital here in Yaoundé. Because treating these children in Europe is too expensive. It is too expensive because you have to pay for the plane ticket for the family that is going to accompany them. You have to pay for the hospitalization over there, and the care is very expensive. We thought that here with a reference hospital, our doctors can treat them easily.
The aim has always been to enable people locally to achieve what we could do for them elsewhere. You have already had the opportunity to see these children all over the world. And when we managed to bring him to France, England, or the United States for an operation, it is a feat, but it's never a unique case. When we realize this, we are all happy. We have emotion. But we must know that behind this, there are many other cases, and therefore, at this cost, we cannot help most of the cases. And it is this transfer of